I've made a bunch of videos recently on some cheap Grand Tourers, and today we're going to talk about a bunch of slightly more expensive ones sitting at under the £50,000 mark that still compete with way more expensive Grand Tourers. So if, like me, you like Grand Tourers, hit the like button, subscribe as well if you're new. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Let's get started with a particularly rare car which only had a very short run, the Aston Martin Virage, which is supposed to be a car to sit in between the DB9 and the DBS. Aston did this in 2011 and pulled the car in 2012 basically because the gap was far too narrow and there was no real business case for its existence. But for the short time that it existed, it did come with a 5.9 litre V12 engine producing 490 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 4.6 seconds. It was a resurrected nameplate which disappeared in 1996 with the car it represented entirely ending in 2000, and I think typically when you think of the Virage you think of that older car. The new Virage was supposed to combine the tech from the DBS with the luxury of the DB9 and Rapide, genuinely bridging the gap between the two for those that like sports cars but also luxury Grand Tourers. But even though it bridges that gap, it doesn't actually share any panels with any of those cars. It's entirely unique in and of itself. Because of its short lifespan, just 1001 were produced, and in the UK we got just 114, of which only 22 were coupes as opposed to the convertible Volantes. That tells you that the car probably appealed more to the luxury market than it did to the performance one, despite its ability to do 186 miles per hour tapped out. You'll struggle to find any Virages for sale, but if you do, they'll likely start at around our limit of this video, and you get a 2011 model with 50,000 miles on it for that kind of money. Dashboard electrics have been a known issue, though the engines are generally very strong. Maintenance prices will be that of a six-figure car though, so do be aware of that. Next up we have one of the newest cars on the list, and absolutely one of the best looking in my opinion, the Lexus LC500, which replaced the way less cool and way worse looking SC generation. Genuinely, the two cars couldn't be further apart aesthetically and performance wise. It's honestly insane. The LC500 comes with a 5 litre V8 engine which makes 470 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. It actually sits on the same platform as the luxury Lexus LS class from 2017, showing the car's intention of being a luxury Grand Tourer, and it also shares its engine with both the RCF and GSF, showing that it was also meant to be quite performant. It's built at the same factory as the LFA with some reconfiguration to make the LC possible, which is only relevant in that the car does share some general similar styling features, though of course in line with the more modern Lexus design principles, which I think is properly nice. The Takumi Mastercraft people that built the LFA also work on the LC too, particularly around the carbon fibre and leather, which is why the interior is so nice on these as well, with that absolutely massive centre console which separates the two occupants pretty significantly. Though this car will be perfect for a long driving holiday, it's also done well in racing, particularly in Super GT where it won 14 out of 24 races it entered between 2017 and 2019 before being replaced by the Supra. It is at the pricier end of the spectrum too, starting at around £48,000, with £50,000 getting you a 2017 model with around 50 to 70,000 miles on it. Plus the key benefits of these, reliability. It's a Lexus meaning it's a Toyota, and that engine has done very well so far. Taking third on this list we have the incredibly luxurious Mercedes S63 AMG, which is the two-door coupe grand touring version of the W222 S-Class luxury car. It was the first of its kind with this name badge, as it actually replaced the more traditional CL class, with the S badge giving it a bit more prestige in the Mercedes lineup, given S-Classes are usually the flagship cars. This flagship comes with a 5.5 litre twin turbocharged V8 engine which makes 576 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 4.1 seconds, so it is actually the most powerful car on the list by a significant margin. It isn't the absolute top of the line version of the car though, as there was also the twin-turbo V12 model, the S65 AMG, but the S63 certainly has enough pace and prowess to keep you happy. The thing is, however, the market for this kind of car never really materialised for Mercedes, which is why it was discontinued in 2021, despite getting genuinely rave reviews from across the industry. A full-size S-Class luxury Grand Tourer was battling against cars like the new Bentley Continental GT, which is quite a top-end part of the market, with the same types of people interested in the SL class, so Mercedes basically dropped it and replaced it with the new SL generation, which by the way is absolutely stunning. Still, this car is a beast with the most advanced technology Mercedes had to put in a car to that point, and it came with either all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive depending on what kind of dynamic you prefer. £40,000 will get you into one of these, and £50,000 is enough for a 2015 example with around 50,000 miles on the clock. Stress fractures in the glass roof, rattles and poor off-the-line acceleration seem to be the main problems owners complain about, and some cars were known to have transmission issues. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you are, do hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it, and subscribe as well if you're new here, and let me know in the comments down below, any one of these 5 cars any location in the world, where are you driving it to? What's the Grand Tour saying? I'll let you know mine at the end of the video. From a relatively new car, we're heading back to the oldest car on the list now, the Porsche 911 997 Turbo, which was for a time the range-topping turbo car before the S came in with the 997.2 generation. It was given a 3.6-litre twin-turbocharged flat-six engine, which makes 473 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 3.8 seconds. Not bad for a car released in 2006 on a 2004 platform. It has the typical turbo stylings to mark it from the rest of the Porsche range. The wider arches with the vents on the rear and the rear wing are the obvious ones, then of course the slightly more aggressive bumpers to match. That wider body shell is normal for all-wheel drive 997s, and despite being larger, it was also 41 kilograms lighter than the 996 Turbo due to the amount of aluminium used in construction. That engine is also insanely cool. The first time two Borg-Warner turbos were used in a road-going Porsche, and the actual unit was based on the 911 GT1's engine design, which is pretty insane considering what the car actually is. Some options to consider when going for one of these two include the carbon ceramic brakes, and then whether you want the Tiptronic Auto or the manual, the former being that little bit quicker to 60, 2/10 to be exact, which would actually put it at the top of this list, but you know I'm a manual fan. You need to spend a minimum of around £45,000 to get into one of these, and £50,000 will get you a 2007 model with around 50,000 miles on the clock. The thing to note is that this is now an appreciating classic already due to Porsche's insane growth in popularity, and though you could daily one of these, I think those with lower mileage and original parts in future will be worth a penny or two. Taking the top spot in this video thanks to its insane 0 to 60 time is the BMW M850i, the step down from the M8 but still utterly ridiculous and performant Grand Tourer with its 4.4 litre twin turbocharged V8 engine producing a massive 522 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 3.7 seconds. This thing is an absolute beast, and it kind of picks up where the 6 Series left off, as well as the BMW i8 to some degree. It comes as both the coupe and convertible, with both offering similar levels of luxury, with BMW's modern interior stylings being way cooler than many of their competitors. It's a heavy car too, almost 2,000 kilograms, so focuses very clearly on its touring capability more than its handling, but that doesn't mean that it's not dynamic for that weight, and it's clearly also built for business people, given it has Skype for Business integration as well as Office 365 on its infotainment, which is pretty mental to think about. Cruising around the south of France in your luxury BMW, stopping for some lunch, taking a business meeting from the car, and checking a few documents before carrying on with your cruise. So basically, where the M8 is effectively a road-going version of the M8 GTE race car, the M850i is more road and luxury focused, and either way I think visually the car is incredibly striking. That more smooth roofline and more angular front end with the chopped off rear is not a million miles away from the cherished older 8 Series which many people love today. If you want one of these, you'll be looking at a minimum of around £43,000, and £50,000 will get you a 2019 model with around 30,000 miles on it. Faulty brakes were known in the early days of this car, and oil leaks have been reported by some, but generally owners are very positive about these outside of the running costs. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, a quick reminder, do hit like, I would really appreciate it. It helps the video out. On that question I mentioned, I would probably take the Aston maybe. I take the Aston and I take it to some nice roads in Switzerland. The Grimsel Pass, if you've not done it, it's amazing. I take the Aston to the Grimsel Pass. What would you take? Thanks for watching. Thanks to the patrons for their support. And if you want to watch another video on some cheaper Grand Tourers, then click up here and subscribe down here.